Year six. I hope you're well and have been getting on with your maths. It's been great to see you, Mimers. Fantastic work being sent through. And Anna Lee and Jeremiah, I've really appreciated all that you've done. Imani, seeing the work you've been doing at school, but also now being sent stuff from home is really impressive. Ines, I've loved seeing what you've done as well. Thank you. And I know Mr. Day was tickled by your plans to go to Kuala Lumpur. And Tyreek, keep plodding away, mate. I'm really impressed by you. I feel like you're already a tall boy, but you've now grown up a great deal, having come into this and shown that fortitude. So thank you. Having a look through then today, year six, what we're going to start by doing is, I'm just explaining, we're going to do a bit of division by 10, 100 and 1000 in the main video later on. But to begin with, we're going to look at imperial units. Now, as with some of these other topics, these would have been things you would normally have done in year five, and you might have touched on them through the home learning packs that we sent home in the spring, but you might have missed elements of it. So to go through them now is partially to catch up with them. Okay, now there's different imperial units for different things we're measuring. It's the same as where we have with metric units. What I'd like you to think about here is we've got our milk bottles, we've got our measuring scales, and we've got how tall people are. What do you reckon? Which one would go with which one? Okay. Do you think you'd measure somebody's mass or their weight by pints? Do you think you'd measure how heavy somebody was? Sorry, how tall somebody was with pounds or inches? Or what do you think? Okay, some of you will have known this. I think the one that most of you would know would be that we measure height in inches. Okay, so sometimes you talk about how tall you are with inches. Now, with liquid, particularly with milk, we still measure it sometimes within pints. So 568 milliliters is 1 pint. Okay, but then also with weight, how heavy somebody is, so their mass, we do tend to measure that for babies still in pounds and ounces. However, as we become adults, increasingly we use kilograms as a way of measuring it. Okay, hopefully that's reminded you of some of those elements. As I've just said, 568 milliliters is 1 pint. Okay, so that's 1 pint. We might have of milk or something else as a liquid that we measure as 1 pint. So if you know that, and you know therefore that 5,680 would be 10 pints, because 10 times greater than 568 would be that. Which of these are less than 5 pints? Can you try and work that out? Pause it whilst you have a go at that. Now, even without doing the calculations, I'm sure some of you have spotted that 568 doubled will be over 1,000. Therefore, it's definitely going to not be, definitely 957 is going to be less. You also know that if 2 would be over 1,000, then any value which is under 2,000 would be 4 or smaller. So you know that 1,989 would be less. And let's see if there's any others. We've got 4 in total. As I say, we know that 568 multiplied by 10 would be 5,680, and consequently, half of that, so five pints, would be 2,840, and therefore 2,419 is definitely easily calculated as below, and it's just 2 milliliters different between 2,838 and 2,840. So well done if you managed to identify those. Here are our knowledges. We know that 2.54 centimeters is the equivalent to 1 inch. So is that the correct equivalent for 3 inches? What do you think? Do the calculation if you can, a bit of multiplication. So multiplying 2.54 by 3 is false due to the fact that would be 7.62 centimeters. So slight deviation. We've got the tenths and the hundredths mixed up. Okay, so our place value needs to be clear with that calculation. Okay, now 2.2 pounds, LB is the symbol, the imperial symbol for pounds. 2.2 pounds is the same as 1 kilogram. Okay, now we've got to work out how much 28 kilograms is. So again, use knowledge that you've got already. Could you initially find out what 20 is if you were doing it as a mental calculation? By doubling it and then multiplying it by 10. Could you then find out what 8 is and add those two values together? So 2.2 multiplied by 10 would be, multiplied by 2 would be 4.4. So that's 2 kilograms. 4.4 then multiplied by 10 would be 20. So that's 44 pounds, 44 lbs. can you then work out? Let's see. It is 61.6 pounds. Okay. Now, 11 pounds is the same in weight and same mass as 5 kilograms. So if one watering can is 3 kilograms, well, we've got to do 2 steps here. One watering can is 3 kilograms. So what would 4 watering cans be as kilograms? 3, 6, 9. Great stuff. It's really, really good how Nathan and others are shouting 12 kilograms. Now you know 12 kilograms. Can you work out what that would be in pounds? How are you going to do it? I'm interested to see what you've done. I think some of you there have done different strategies. For me, what I would have done, I would have identified that 60 kilograms and 12 kilograms are both multiples of 12. And therefore, I'd identify that 60 kilograms will be 12 times 11. Okay, because 12 times 11 pounds. So that would be 132 pounds. And I'd find that I'd divide that value by 5, because 60 divided by 5 is 12. So what would 132 divided by 5 be? 100 divided by 5 would be 20. 30 divided by 5 would be 6, so it's 20 and 6. And then we've got 2, which we've got to share in 5 equal parts. So it's 30.4, I think. Let's check. I said that wrong, haven't I? 26.4 pounds. I'm so sorry, Year 6. All of you have been listening really well. I've spotted my error, because when I said that, I said 30 divided by 5, and I therefore put 30 in my head. So I think I needed to make some jottings there. If you got it right and I got it wrong, remember that when we see each other, make sure you remind me about the watering cans. Make sure you remind me, because that's not great, is it? Mr. Spring getting that one wrong in his head. I think I need to make some jottings, and I'm sure lots of you got that correct by making jottings, so well done. Okay, guys, we're going to make some jottings on these, on 5A, 5B, 6A, and 6B. As you work through these then, I'd like you, rather than circling them, to copy down the values which are initially less than 24 kilos, and then the second group which are more than 55 pounds. Looking at those true and false questions for 6A and 6B as well. So pause it whilst you work through these. Next sheet, then, we've got some equivalent values. Reminder, I'll just say it. 568 millilitres is a very useful value when you're thinking about pints. 568 millilitres, okay? And 2.54 centimetres is useful to think about when you're looking at inches. 2.54 centimetres. Pausing, working through those then. 50 pounds, 0.8. 42.06 pounds, 51.9 pounds, and 34.1 pounds. The second question 5B, we can look at to the right hand side, those values in kilograms. It's false. It's 3,408 millilitres. Again, that place value presentation has got confused. So Nathan, I know you've been doing some great decimal work, but all of us can be really careful with that presentation to support ourselves in solving these calculations. And finally, the true or false one for 6B is true. Here we've got 1,420 millilitres for 11A, 11B, 3,578.4 millilitres. 106.68 centimetres, and I carefully said 68 rather than 68 because it's 6/10 and 8/100 of a centimetre, and then 76.2 centimetres for 12B. Hopefully you worked through those. Well done if you have. Mark your own ones of these, please. And then you're going to be working on this sheet after watching the second video. So you're dividing by 10, 100, and 1,000, working on your decimal skills today. One that I wanted to point out to you here was number 6. It's worth having a think about because it does tell you to write the greater than, lesser than, or equal symbol, but really try initially to calculate what each side of the number sentence is worth. So don't just put the symbol. Maybe if you've printed it out, jot on it what each value is worth. And if you haven't printed out, just work out the values, because otherwise you're going to find it challenging to understand whether things are correct or incorrect when you're comparing them. Okay, so I definitely work out the values for those. It's a good practice to get into. Okay, guys. Right, guys. Looking forward to seeing you again for your next maths lesson on Monday. And missing you